Okay, to start with, you're going to have your 3 patterns, your coloured fabric, your black fabric, scissors, and some pins. Start with the black fabric. When you want to put your pattern together for your black fabric, make sure that you're lining it up properly. Try and get the edges on top of each other and not overlapping. I'm going to start with your flap. You'll see the side where it says fold. I've folded my black fabric in half. And the part where it's round and folded over, I'm going to put that edge. I'm going to put the edge where it says fold on the rounded folded edge. When you start pinning, make sure that you pin that edge of the pattern straight onto the edge of the fabric, not halfway down. And make sure that it goes through both sides of the fabric, not just one. I'm going to start from one side of the pattern and I'm going to run my hand flat to make sure that there's no bubbles for when I'm pinning. When you're pinning, make sure that your pin stays on the pattern, on the brown paper, and not off onto the black fabric or onto the fabric, because when you come around and cut, you don't want to be stumped by a pin. You want it to be on the paper, so when you come around, you're not cutting into a pin and damaging the scissors. You can see I'm going through both layers of fabric when I pin. Okay. I'm coming close. Okay, finished pinning the strap. You can see the pins have come through on the other side and there's no bubbles or wobbles. It lays down flat, and I've pinned it on the side that has the fold, where on the pattern it says place it on the fold. Then you're going to lay down your base. This is the one with the funny corners. You want to lay that down where the opening is, not on the fold. You want to lay it on the side of the opening. Okay. Pin that in, the same as your strap, using your hand to run the pattern smoothly and flat on the fabric. I try and pin all the corners first, and then once you've done all the corners, you can pin in between. The more pins you have, the easier it will be to cut properly. If I didn't put a pin here and I started to cut, it would lift, which means I wouldn't know where there'd be no pattern to guide your cutting. Whereas here you can see I've put 2 pins, so as soon as I come around with the scissors, the paper or the pattern lays flat on the fabric, which makes a more accurate cut, which helps you stitch neatly. Alright, it says cut 1 outer. Here it says cut 2 outer, but because I've folded it in half, just by cutting once, I'm going to get 2 outers. Okay. For your flap, it says you only need 1. So I'm not going to put this down now, because if I put it down now and it's folded, I'm going to end up cutting 2. So I'm going to leave that for the moment. I'm only going to cut my base and my strap. The trick to cutting is not to cut up in the air. You want to cut flat down on the tabletop. It allows you to be in control and more accurate. Don't cut the paper. You're not trying to cut the template. Oh, I'm going to end up cutting that. Don't cut the paper, cut the fabric only, and make sure you're cutting through both layers. Okay. See, I could have put another pin in there. Can you see how it's lifting? It means I'm not cutting very accurately. Okay. Please don't cut that fold. What you want is to be one long strip. I'll show you when you're done. Edit that out. Okay, what you have left is this. If you open it up, you have a really nice big piece. And because we only need one outer, you can put your flap in the corner. There's no point in putting it in the middle. Try to save a bit of fabric. Maybe someone else will need it. Okay, so put it into the corner. If you're smart, you'll line up some of the edges so that you don't have to cut that. What I end up doing is only cut that and that instead of all four sides. Pin these in. Alright, pins have gone through to the other side. It's laying down nice and flat, which means I can start cutting. Right, so what I'm left with, if you read the instructions on the pattern, it says cut one outer. If I remove all of these pins, one outer, I've got my one outer. Put that aside. Strap says cut one outer on the fold. What I'm left with is a nice big strap, and I haven't cut that on the fold. Says cut two outer of the base. 1, 2. Okay. You're going to do exactly the same, but with your color fabric as well. Exactly the same on your color fabric. So this is my color fabric. Fold it in half. Line it up nicely. Starting with my strap, placing it on the fold of the fabric. Going to put my strap on the fold, to the side. Flat through both layers. Going to take your base with the funny corners and you're going to put it to the edge where there's an opening, not the edge with the fold. That's not going to fit. You can see it goes off the fabric. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it around the other side. Okay, I want to make sure that it goes through both layers. If I put it too close, I would be short with the one layer. Double check that your pattern goes over both layers. Okay, that it's not falling short. Strap as well. Okay. Remember to get your teacher to check before you start cutting the fabric. With the fabric that's left over, open it up and you should be able to place your flap. Remember, we just need one inner, so open it up, lay it flat and try and get it close to some edges. What I'm left with is the same as the black. Right, base, 2 inner, because I cut it on a fold, I've got 2 bases. Cut 1 inner, here's my 1, and cut 1 lining on the fold,